In the last video, so far we saw that we went to the pool, or no, we got a pool. Okay, let me do it from the beginning, from the top. I already forgot. It's been a while, but off the top of my mind, if I can recall, it was we worked for Asterion. We also learned more about Coda, like his brother and such, and about what he likes, like rivers. Then we worked more again. We unlocked the pool, or we built the pool, not unlocked it. We built the pool, and Asterion did not have a bathing suit, so we made one for him. It turned out that Asterion was a great swimmer. In this skimpy underwear, I made a mistake of not taking it off of him later. And in this video, you'll see that he still has it on. Yeah. It's growing on me, looking at his chest. After that, we solidify Asterion's role as co-owner. And that's where he left off. So, I'll see you next time. Or, wait, not next time. I'll see you later in the video. Bye. If anything, she'll give you too much of it. As long as we don't get her angry. When we arrived at Drowned Tapor, it was about 8 p.m. We didn't have much time left before she went to bed. Her house is near the graveyard at the edge of town. I clapped and called out at the front door until Nini's granddaughters took us in. We were told to walk carefully. There were lines of salt across each doorway and bowls of it in the shelves and table. And bowls of it on the shelves and table, upon which burned sweet-scented candles. The paint on the walls was peeling and flaking. The furniture, all of it, was covered by thick plastic sheets. There was half a dozen young women around the dining table. All of them had their gazes locked on the flat-screen TV playing an old grainy soap opera. From a door off to the side came a voice I knew too well, sweeter than cane sugar, and more nauseating as well. By the heavens, is that an angel I'm seeing? It was directed at Storm. He and I entered the room. Excuse me? Yeah, an angel. Could you be one? Oh yeah, that's it. Our Lord and Savior sent a big, handsome angel to take me away with style. I knew it. God exists, and he knows what I like. Yes, sirree. Thank you, Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost too, for sending me such a fine gentleman. What brings you here, cutie? Is there something my granddaughters can get for you? Anything at all? Ma'am, I'm sorry, but I think you must be mixing me up with someone else. I'm ugly as sin. No, sir. You're something else. A seraphim, or an angel. My very own revelation. Oh, wow. Thank you, ma'am. Oh, it's nothing, dearie. Always a pleasure having a guest so handsome and polite. Oh, and you. Yes, it's a pleasure meeting you too. Wow. Likewise, Birdie. Pity it's only been a few hours. I hope they take you longer to find him. Did you know? It's almost bedtime, you silly sparrow, and I'm just so hungry too. Your grandkids have plenty of food back there. Why don't you have a proper dinner? But none of it's sweet. I have already had all the candy I brought. Wasn't that enough? No, sirree. I ate it already. Would it be too much if... I'm not going out to get more sweets. You said you'd answer my questions, so now. You've always been so serious. I'm just pulling your feathers. So, she knows your... Yeah, she does. She knew my grandfather, and together they searched for the hotel I told you about. Nini, this is Storm. He and I had a talk, and we struck a deal. He'll help me find the place. So he's the boy I heard about. The Minotaur near the bottom of the valley. Yes, for once in your life, the gossip was right. And in exchange, you made a charm for him. You could say that. Yeah, I see. The resemblance is uncanny. You're too young to have a kid his age, but otherwise, I'd bet a love serenade? I'd bet a love serenade on him being your son. What are you talking about? I only met this guy today. We ain't related. This guy. Sorry, boss, sir. That's better. To answer your question, it's because of the ritual we performed. We made your charm by extending my oath to you, a contract with humanity, as I explained before. The magic in your charm is similar to that what's inside mine, and I used my feather to write your oath, so to speak. As long as you use that charm, you'll look somewhat similar to me, a bit younger though. Everyone will take him for your brother. How old are you, young man? I'm 21, ma'am. And Birdie are 29? 30. That could work as our cover story then. We'll say he's my younger brother. But enough of all that. You were right this time after all, and you told me you had another lead on the hotel. Ah, yeah. Before I start, let me introduce myself to the little flower. Now, Storm, was it? Everyone around here calls me Nini, and you're welcome to do the same. And this sorry excuse for a gentleman, if he's following the example of his bird-brained grandfather, is P. Or Pee-Pee, back when he was a boy, running all over the place. His grandpappy used to bring him out here every now and then. I've known him for many years, long before he became this boring and irritable. So his Gramp spent the whole life searching for a very unique place. He told me about that. The Minotaur's hotel, right? Yep, that's right. My little sugar plum. And I had the misfortune of being the one person he convinced to help him find it. He explained to me all he knew how magic works. I didn't understand it then, but it's quite the privilege. A human being showing these old mysteries, I mean. Now, in all these years, I've learned a few things, or you two should know. I've learned a few things you two should know. The stories, the old tales, they always keep repeating, yes? Each generation has its bit different. The details change, but the stories rhyme. They can skip a line here and there, but that just makes them return stronger. So P's grandpappy spent every moment he could looking for the Minotaur's hotel, and now here's his grandkid, doing the exact same. When I heard gossip about you, a bull-headed boy, hiding away in the depths of the valley, well, what could I think? Must be fate, that's what. History rhyming with itself, yes sirree. And I'm sure the two of you can crack this mystery. Now I promised the little birdie here I had a fresh clue for him, so here's the deal. Grandpappy P and I left no stone unturned. We tried everything, but couldn't find that damned hotel. I'd already given up on it many years ago. But I had a dream last night, and I think it's fate. I jumped the mountain, at its peak and the path up to it covered by a fog thicker than night. Your grandpappy was with me, trying to climb it, but it was impossible to see the foot ahead. And then I saw them, all 12 of them, pale and thin like clouds. The ghosts of the 12 people your grandfather killed. He didn't kill no one. He wasn't even there when it happened. He snitched on them, that's why they died in the first place. If that ain't murder, then you can call it whatever you want. It's just as bad. But listen now, my dream showed my solution to all this. The 12 dead told me, your grandpappy, the path to the hotel will reveal itself when our remains are left to rest. This has to be it, boys. Your grandpappy and I checked every godforsaken rock in this hole looking for the hotel, but nothing, nada, zilch. But that's because this place was shrouded by the bad karma. You need to clean up his mess first. Here's what you'll have to do. First, go to the Colonel's mansion and retrieve their mortal remains. Second, legend says there's a cross at the bottom of the lake by the dam. Down here, down where the old skin sepulchre used to be, back before the flood. You need to get it. And finally, with that cross, give them a proper Christian burial, where they died. Then, and only then, will the path forward reveal itself. That makes no sense. I don't think those two things are related. And a mountain? Really? Ghosts? You know, not every weird dream is a premonition. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. You ungrateful son of a... Here I am helping you and you dare answer like that? Fuck yourself, you ungrateful shit. Go away. Gigi, take him out. Fine, we're going. Thanks for nothing. Nothing? I got you a Minotaur. That's more than your lousy bastard of a grandfather ever accomplished. Now go see if I care, and good luck finding your goddamned hotel. And that's how our meeting with Nini ended. We drove off and parked in the town's plaza. The lampposts' harsh yellow cut the night. A dull buzzing reached us from the clouds of the bugs swarming the lights. I gathered my thoughts and every lead I could had so far. Well, that was a waste of time. I'm lost. Things seemed to be going so well until they weren't. That's just how Nini is. We're lucky she was even strapped to the bed. Else, she would have thrown her candles at us. So, did she give any decent clue on where to find the hotel? I don't know. All that about her dreams stank like bullshit to me. Plus, I didn't like her tone when she talked with my grandpa. Is what she said true, though? Did she kill the 12 people? Not exactly. He wasn't a bad person, but he didn't have much of a choice. And that led to him getting involved with some bad people. The story's simple. Back in the 40s, my grandpa used to work as a foreman for a politician from these parts, who you might know as the Colonel. Again, he didn't have a choice back then. It was forbidden for a peacock to work any other kind of job. Not many people knew we existed, but those who did would pay us for our work. In turn, we were expected to be loyal to our employer alone. That's how peacocks made a living. But then everything went to shit. My grandpa's boss fell out of favor and made some enemies. Those who tried to get rid of Gramps to get back at his boss. He ran away and somehow found his way into this magic hotel. At least that's what he told me. There was a Minotaur there who paid him in diamonds. He was safe from all the mess going around here, so he planned on staying a few years to save the money, then, well, get together with his sweetheart and live however they pleased. But then again, things went to shit. The hotel's owner went crazy and kicked everyone out. It happened so quick that no one had the time to retrieve their savings. So that's what you're looking for, diamonds? If the story is true, and they're still there, sure, God knows I could use the money. But that's not what my inheritance is about. What he left me is something a little more unique. Back to the story, though. So my grandpa was thrown out and found himself back here. By then, the Colonel was the boss again, but things weren't as peaceful as they used to be. The Colonel didn't want him doing the plain old security. My grandpa became more like a grunt, a paid gun. And there was this whole other mess, too. There was a family of mythicals. That's what they're called, mythicals. Anyway, they were from the native species of mythical. I heard they were tapirs who fed off dreams and nightmares. Dream eaters, they were called. I don't know the details, but long story short, they were trying to do some native rite of their own, but it all got mixed up. The townsfolk thought they were Satan worshippers. And my grandpa got involved with that because he had no choice. Because he got kicked out of the hotel, he didn't want to get gutted by his old employer. A few dream eaters managed to escape, but 12 died. That's what Nini was talking about when she said my grandpa killed them. You think that's what you gotta solve? The thing about their mortal remains? Not sure. Violent deaths like that can create curses, which can linger on and do all sorts of evil. It might be worth a shot, even if I'm not sure that's the solution to my problem. But the colonel died last week, sir. Rumor is his wife snuffed him out to get the inheritance. There's a whole lot of shit going on over there, with the colonel's relatives showing up and out for revenge. Wouldn't be smart sticking our noses in the middle of that. Good to know. Anything else I should keep in mind? Well, there's plenty of weirdness going around these parts. Seen a thing or two myself. The deeper you go in the hinterlands, the worse it gets. If you're looking for any sort of magical thing, then I think we should look for the deepest parts of this place. There's no hotel there, but if you're looking for weirdness, that's where you should go. Is that so? So you're saying you're used to seeing weirdness. Not seen exactly, but I hear things from people who have. Good to keep in mind. I might have to pick your brain for info as we go. For now, though, you're homeless, right? Yeah. You okay with staying with me? I booked a room at the inn, so you'd have a bed at least. It'd make it easier and quicker for us to start the day tomorrow. Sure, that sounds better than sleeping on the ground. Good. So first things first, we're getting some food and then we're calling it a night. But you'll need to take a shower first. You stink. Christ, you're a cunt. Sure am. We drove off. New arrivals follow the same general pattern you witnessed when Greta and Ishmael arrived, with Asterion displaying unmatched charisma as he danced around the fact that yes, he is a Minotaur. He's done this thousands of times already, taken in guests pulled in from dire situations, who must now face the reality that there is more to the world than their eyes can see. Around 4 p.m., the last of the new guests trickle in. While you finish some leftover paperwork, you tell Asterion to relax a bit. He grumbles and mutters a thing or two about his duty, but you insist that resting during downtime will give him the energy to be more productive later. That line of thinking will be enough to convince him. Oh my god. He goes off for about an hour, after which he returns with his lyre in tow. By then, the sun has begun to set, and the reception area is empty. Lilac and orange clouds snake over the valley's west end over the hotel, reaching out towards the horizon to the east. Behind them, the sky has taken a purple hue, starting a pale shade and darkening a notch every time you glance outside. You lean back in your chair, basking in the natural light as the room falls into a velvety dusk of its own. Surrounded by the scent of aged paper, soft, almost reminiscent of vanilla, you are left to contemplate the sunset vista, perturbed by only the dying breeze from the desert beyond. Asterion's fingers grace over the lyre strings, not quite daring to pluck. Just the tension of grazing against them is enough to ring the faintest of notes, so discreet as to be rendered inaudible by so much as another person's breathing. You may not know the song he's playing, if any at all, but nonetheless, you can anticipate a note here and there. You tap a finger to the melody. At least half the time you get it right. There, the two of you remain, suspended between silence and stray notes. You look at him in the eyes. It takes the Minotaur half a minute to feel your gaze and look up from the strings. When he does, he gives you a half smile, but his finger slips and the note he'd been courting sounds off. You look away, he does the same, and then both meet again, as if on cue. You chuckle, he grunts, though his lyre continues meandering song. His gaze turns pensive, however, when it falls on your armband. His lips part to say something, but an approaching discord makes him freeze. Outside, you hear a car approaching. From your respective angles, only Asterion can see the car. He lets out a sputtering cough just as a large presence trundles in. What the heck? Good afternoon, gentlemen. The creature between you and Asterion carries a suitcase in either hand, one small enough to be carried at his side, and the other a storage trunk, too unwieldy to not drag. He gives Asterion only a passing glance before settling on you. Pardon my ignorance, but is this establishment a hotel? He snorts, but his hardened nostrils do not flare. His throat lets out a grave hum, almost purring, and his body emits a bonfire's warmth. Yeah, this is a hotel. He remains unfazed by your delayed response. Excellent. Once more, pardon my ignorance. I saw no sign on the road indicating this place's nature or its name. Regardless, I am glad the directions were correct. Please excuse my untimely arrival. Assuming you have a vacancy for a guest without a booking, I would like to check in. If possible, I would like to stay for 28 days. He pulls from his pocket a booklet and a credit card, and lays them on the desk. You will find my documentation is in order. My name is Robert Geneva, and you may consider me a Swiss citizen. You may check my passport. You will find I am a law-abiding citizen, like any other. I see. You open his passport. Its pages are filled with stamps from all over the world. The page with his personal information features the picture of a surly-looking man. It does bear some resemblance to the demon in front of you, albeit only in a very abstracted way. As your eyes focus on it, however, the enchantment fades away. Gradually, Robert's face is revealed beneath the glamour. Well, I suppose it all checks out. If you could just fill out these forms, sir. With pleasure. From your attitudes, I take it that my kind are not unwelcome here. The hotels takes in those who are lost. If you find your way here, then I take it you fit the bill. As with any other guest, you will be welcome as long as you abide by our code of conduct. You will find a copy of it included with your passport, or paperwork. Is that so? I see. Of course, these terms are uncontroversial. I am happy to see how you have such a strong norms here. Very fitting. Very well. Is everything in order? It would seem so. Asterion, could you take our guest to his room? Yes, sir. Please come with me, Mr. Robert. Allow me to take your luggage. How courteous of you. But worry not. I'll take it myself. Let us proceed. Robert has checked in. I mustn't forget. I happened to find a lost traveler on my way here. Good sense told me to ignore him, but the arid landscape convinced me otherwise. I gave him a ride, but as you can see, my passport seems to have malfunctioned. The poor fellow had quite the scare. He must be recovering from the parking lot. If you would be so kind, could you offer him some support? Of course. It would be our pleasure. We can have a room prepared for him as well. Perhaps you will appreciate your offer. Very well, I won't take any more of your time. Mr. Asterion. What a traditional name. Mr. Asterion, let us proceed. And there's the lost traveler. After giving the hotel's interior a peek, he tiptoes his way in, scarcely making a sound. Hello, good evening. Are you the fellow who got a ride from Mr. Robert? Yeah, that's me, Mr. Robert. As you call him, Mr. Robert, as you call him, gave me quite the scare of a lifetime. My heart is still beating out of my chest. Imagine what it's like getting a ride from a stranger, and then he turns into a demon, with his horns and everything. I was about to start pleading with him not to take my soul. Still, I can't believe I'm alive and breathing. Doesn't help how I have no clue how I got here. I'm sorry you had to go through all that. I can imagine how tough it was. I, too, had quite this sudden run-in with a very fantastical person a while ago. Might take a while to get used to, but it gets easier with time. Is that so? The stranger's eyes become hawk-like for a split second. Say, could you be so kind to tell me where I am? This is a special kind of hotel. We specialize in taking in people who might be going through a hard time. Would you say this hotel is for the lost? Yes, that's a way to put it. And if you'll be pardon the pun, but you might be quite lost yourself. Mr. Robert told me about your predicament. If you'd like, I could get a room ready for you in a minute so you can enjoy the good night's rest. What a kind gesture. I would gladly accept, except afraid you haven't mentioned the pricing. You don't have to worry about that. The operation is essentially humanitarian in nature. We don't need to charge. And if we did, our targeted clientele doesn't necessarily always have the money to spare. No charge? Now I don't mean to look like gift horse in the mouth, but is this some sort of trick? Nothing in the fine print I should be aware of? Are you going to twist things around and perhaps say the price was my soul or something? Not at all. No, there's no twist. Besides, if someone were to snatch your soul, I'd place a higher bet on the horned demon than the unassuming human. Well, you know what they say. Appearances can be deceiving. Very well. I suppose I can't reject such hospitality. However, in a place like this, if you're not charging for room and board, with magic, that doesn't exactly inspire confidence, buddy. The magic of hospitality, that is. Now that's better. Shall I prick my finger and sign in blood, then? Just fill out this form, if you will. Sorry to say there is no soul shenanigans or blood packs. My business partner would never approve. The traveler's hand flows over the paper, leaving behind an uninterrupted trail of fine calligraphy. He passes it back over to you with both hands once he's finished. You need to do a double take before to be sure you got it right. Very well, mister. Jean-Marie Clement from Bordeaux, France. That's correct, although my friends just call me Jean. You look up to the traveler, now with your own set of hawk eyes. That's a very remarkable name. Classy, isn't it? It was my father's idea, to honor his uncles. My family does that sort of thing all the time. Now I'm afraid I didn't get your name, Mr. Just call me Lucien. I suppose you must be tired. How about I give you a quick tour of our facilities and escort you to your room? Lucien. Now that is quite peculiar. I'm a delivery man, you see. And I was tasked with making a delivery man to a certain hotel for the lost, for a man called Lucien. What a welcome surprise. This was perhaps the hardest job of my entire life. Finding you is no short of a Herculean task. But it would seem fate, in the form of a demon, has brought us together. I suppose getting to this hotel might be an arcane task, indeed. Sorry it caused you so much trouble. That said, would you rather leave for business later tonight? You are a guest, and it would be awfully impolite of me to have not afforded you the chance to wash up and have the proper meal. Hospitality still lives. Very well. I'll take you up on your offer. We can reconvene later tonight, after I've had some time to relax. If your facilities are half as good as your manners, then I'm sure they'll leave nothing to be desired. You escort Jean-Marie to his room and inform him about the schedule for dinner. Later in the night, Nano fetches your Nasir's order. You didn't have quite the correct... You didn't have quite the corrective order. You didn't have quite the corrective order that is as he thought. What the fuck? Hey guys. What the fuck is happening? Later in the night, Nano fetches Yor in Asterian's order. You didn't have even correct his notes this time, or remind him not to walk in the kitchen on all fours. Asterian plays with a few crystals from the jar you had left on the what seems to have become your designated table. Peculiar day, wouldn't you say? Not every day we get a demon or a Frenchman. I would say a demon. I'm not very knowledgeable about this whole mythology is real thing. Was it common for the hotel to house demons in olden times? No, it wasn't very common for us to get many non-humans in the first place. It is quite extraordinary that our first two guests were who they were. But even among the more fantastical of our guests, no. Never in all my years did we ever house a demon. I am just as lost as you are. Did you ever see a demon like him while you were in Hades? Most certainly not. He is like nothing I ever saw down there. Do you think he'd know something about the gods in the afterlife? Could he be dangerous? I don't know. I mean, he came with... Look at his belly. Does that look dangerous? I don't think so. Maybe he's here to tax us, but no, I don't think he's here to tax. He looks like he got back from a golf trip, though. I don't think he'd be dangerous. But he may know about the gods, since he's from the hell. Or like, maybe not from hell, who knows. Could there be a chance he'd know something about the afterlife, or maybe the gods? He mentioned he's a Swiss citizen, but he still might have some privileged information. Perhaps. I must admit, I wouldn't know. But are you sure you wish to pursue that line of inquiry? What do you mean? It is as the song says, do you remember? While you live, shine, have no grief at all. Life exists only for a short while, and time demands its due. That is to say, perhaps it is for the best that mortals do not go too far in that pursuit of knowledge about pursuit of what lies beyond. What you learn may be unsettling, and a man's life is far too short for such grievances. I see your point, and you may be right, but I was thinking that what he could know may be useful in how we manage the hotel. Maybe he knows something about the Greek gods and where they are now. Even if mortals shouldn't ask too many questions about things like that, we could still benefit from learning and thinking ahead. Your conversation is cut short, as you and Asterion notice a duo approaching your table, none other than Jean Mary, the delivery man, and Robert, the demon. You and Asterion straighten up. Good evening, gentlemen. Bonsoir. What a fine night you have so graciously provided. Robert and I couldn't let it pass without taking a minute to compliment your hospitality. Indeed. You are leading a fine establishment, Mr. Lucien. It is truly a sight to behold. That is very kind of you. It is a relief to hear such words. I'll take them as a confirmation that we are succeeding in our mission. That said, I can't lose the chance to clarify, Mr. Robert. My dear friend Asterion here is the co-owner of this hotel. Truth be told, he's both the brains and brawn of the operation. More often than not, I find myself playing only a supporting role in the facilitating his good work. Once more, your kindness is dearly welcome, but it should be directed at my partner instead of me. Is that so? I stand corrected then, Mr. Asterion. I am thoroughly impressed with the structure you have here. You are very kind, sir. Would the two of you care to join us for dinner tonight? Don't mind if I do. Tell me, who designed this place? Before coming to this lounge, I took a stroll and it seemed as if the hallways stretched on forever, branching left and right every half a dozen doors. Common sense told me I'd be irreversibly lost if I wandered too far, but I find my way back to the reception in a blink of an eye if I so much as thought about returning. How was this effect achieved? I absolutely must know more about the architect behind it. Oh, the architect? It was my... He grasped at the words that he wishes to say, somewhat lost in possibilities. He directs only the briefest glance towards you. The Minotaur searches for your face for disapproval, jealousy, pride. But finding nothing of the sort, Asterion returns his gaze to the two guests. The hotel is very old. It was my distant ancestor of mine who engineered it, but its latest iteration is my own design, and a work in progress at that. As for the hallways, I do wish I could share the knowledge with you, but my forefathers would not look too kindly on it. How unfortunate. I'm sure many mathematicians would appreciate learning your forefathers' methods, but your rejection is easy to accept. If you'll not think it's presumptuous, I shall consider it a secret of Minotaurs. How fitting it is that, in these modern days, so destitute of wonder, your kind would still command ancient traditions. And to think that the whole world, with the motive of a divine woman consorting with a divinely created bull, is recurring in the Minoan royal lineage, so it is speculated that this tale is merely allegorical. Oh heavens, I'm rambling. I'm sure our fine host knows much more about the topic than anyone ever could, though it would not surprise me if he's somehow bound to secrecy. Asterian's nostrils flare as he lets out a long breath of air. You can just notice him biting his lip, but overall, there doesn't seem to be any distress in him. My family has its own version of the story, one which I believe to be very accurate. The Minoan royal lineage was closely tied to the gods in many ways. It was common over the generations for Olympians to take on the transitory form of a bull, to bless that generation's queen with a special air. To summon a god, the king would offer his own blood in what was holy and revered ritual. It was said the child descended from both his king, whose blood had initiated the rite, and from the god who had answered the call. Wait, so if queens often did that as a respected ritual, what made Pasiphae's actions any different? There was no blessing in her case, only a curse. Asterian's eyes wander to yours. You blink, and he does the same with a face as stoic as stone. Fascinating. And I take it that you are this... And I take it you are sure this is a true story. Has your family kept records? There is no doubt about it, Robert. Look at his eyes. Never has a man said truer words. Yes, this is the truth, as accurate as any arrow is sharp. Oh, this night is getting better with each passing minute. I will love my vacation here, I can already tell. I'm glad to hear, more than you might imagine. It has been such a short while since we reopened the hotel, but it's brimming with life already. People seem so happy to be here. I'm glad to hear that, more than you might imagine. Sometimes it is hard to accept the things that are going so well. You better get used to it, buddy. If it's up to you and me, they'll just keep getting better and better. Yes, they will. I can see that. It would seem Rome was built in a day, if Romulus and Remus here got it set up so quickly. But if you care to hear, I have a suggestion for how to improve your fine establishment. It's that thing, Robert. The one we talked about just a minute ago. Oh, yes. Oh, that, yes. That is a good suggestion. Here it goes, then. There's no sign. Nothing in front of the place telling people what it is or what it's called. Does this hotel have a name? So far, I only heard people referring it to as, well, the hotel. That's a very valid complaint. We've been so busy lately that with getting the essentials in order that I never even thought about that. That's a very valid complaint. We've been so busy lately with getting the essentials in order that I never even thought about that. So focused on your work, you forgot to give the place a name? If you care to hear my thoughts again, I say Lucian's Hotel would suffice. Simple and to the point, wouldn't you say? I don't think it would. I have it in me to do something like that, honestly. It'd be way too gaudy for me, for my tastes. Asterion, what's the tradition around here for that? The owner is allowed to rename the hotel as he sees fit, which is made official through customary celebration. Lucian's hotel will not be in any way unusual. It may not be unusual, but it remains gaudy and creatively bankrupt. We can do better. I thought the name was Minotaur's Hotel. That's the Wi-Fi network's name. Oh, you and Asterion stare at one another. The Minotaur, perhaps without thinking, puts a hand on his bicep where the laurel wreath sits. Lucian? Wait, there's a Wi-Fi? What's the password? It's Neswerg Dish with a capital N. Disgusting little thing, that's what that is. Network Enforcement Act? Let's see. That isn't working for me. Let me type it for you. Asterion bites his lower lip. Are you? And just what if I am? Honey-tongued. Guilty as charged, so Minotaur Hotel. Sovereign is the will of the partner, co-owner. Now we're talking. Will you guide me in setting up that renaming ceremony you were talking about? Of course. So I'm curious, just now. Robert told me the password and I heard it in French, but he typed some kind of German abomination. Pardon my lack of manners. The Neswer's digit truly is an unsightly piece of legislation, not appropriate to discuss amongst such fine company. He just did it again. Wait, I think I get it now. When we were in the car, we talked in English, but as soon as the landscape changed, I noticed Robert started speaking a very eloquent dialect of French. Yeah, there are many magical things about this place, one of which is how it translates everything people say and write. You probably heard Robert speaking French after the two of you crossed over into the realm. Jean, I'm from Geneva. I speak French. You could have just asked. Oh well, I didn't want to assume. Still, that's yet another fantastical thing to this incomprehensible location, I suppose. Now, if I may ask another question, when you say he's your partner, in what way do you mean exactly? I wonder if there's a little linguistic ambiguity this place isn't picking up on. Excuse me? Oh, it's just the two of you seem very close. I thought for a second that... I'm sorry, I still don't understand. The question was directed at Asterion, but you intervened to clarify. Asterion and I are business partners. That is how you should interpret his word choice. That I understand, but still, you two are quite close is what I'm seeing. Jean, your intentions may be kind, but some would consider this line of questioning inappropriate. I don't recall either Asterion or Lucian mentioning their sexual orientations. For all we know, they may be not compatible in the first place. Even if they are, commenting on such matters may not be unwelcome. May still be unwelcome. And that doesn't even touch on, well, Asterion being a Minotaur and Lucian being a human. Midway through Robert's speech, Asterion leans closer to you and whispers, Lucian, what are they talking about? Don't worry about it. I'll explain later. He nods. Jean, meanwhile, looks away as he's getting lost in thought. Perhaps you're right. It was pretty rude of me for the most part. You know how it is. Talking about sexuality is less taboo where I'm from. I admit, I may have been too forward in that regard. But when it comes to a good Asterion here being a Minotaur, why should that be an impediment? I may not know much about what the traditions are like with you, shall we say, mythical beings, but if two consenting adults love each other, nothing matters. Nothing else matters, right? I had a kid, you know. He was born different, and from the day he was born, there were people who could not look past it. Not everyone though. There were quite a few blessed souls who could see through his differences and like him for who he was. He's no longer with us, but that grace, that blessedness of being able to love even different souls, that I carry with me to this day. So what if Asterian's Minotaur? That shouldn't get in the way of love. Asterian groans and hunches over himself, then looks away from the two guests. To make it clear, I do not disagree with you, however. I don't think the topic is appropriate at the moment, Jean. I would prefer we change the subject, yeah. Very well. I'll let it go. With the caveat that I still stand by what I said. Of course. You and Asterion remain quiet. The place between you is suddenly raw and awkward. Robert takes a chance to check his phone, while Jean looks around the room. The silence is broken by Nano bringing in your plates. So, do you follow the custom of saying grace before meals? Grace? I would not put it like that, but every day I make an offering to the gods. Gods? Which ones? The 12 Olympians, of course, plus Lady Hestia and Lord Hades. Oh, typical. I should have guessed a Minotaur would worship the Greek gods. Don't say it like that. It sounds dismissive. Dismissive. I, for one, would appreciate learning more about his beliefs. Say, Mr. Asterion, would you be willing to demonstrate how an offering is done? Of course. It would be an honor. I never had guessed anyone would still worship those old gods. It's been thousands of years after all. For how long have I been praying to them? Since I was a boy. My lineage was prayed to them for thousands of years, and I was taught to do the same at an early age. But do you really believe they exist? Isn't it absurd in this day and age to hold on to such archaic ideas? No, I'm sure they exist. How else could I be here tonight, if not for them? Yes, but wouldn't it be more worth— Shush, Jean. Let this man be. You're distracting him from the offering. She's okay, big guy. I'll shut my mouth. Asterion rises from his seat, back as unshakable as a fortress's walls, and as wide as a step. He hums a song too familiar. Summoning a bottle of wine, you and a hotel respond in unison. But before proceeding towards the hearth, he glances at you, the corners of his lips curled into a fine crescents. Would you care to join me, Lucian? It would be an honor sharing this with you. You rise, just as high as the Minotaur did, and together you stride to Hestia's fire. He kneels by the hearth, and you do the same. When he raises his arms to the ceiling, however, a sense of shame stops you from bringing yours as high as his. Conversation, laughter, cutlery clinking against the dishes and glasses clanking on wooden tables. Every little hum and song of life. It all fades as though velvet surrounding you and Asterion. You are left with only your and your partner's breathing, and the crackling of fire. All light except that which it offers grows dim. Respect the ones in need of gifts, of friendship and home. He looks aside, and Asterion too is looking at you. You should have the honors. To which god shall we dedicate this offering? I'm pretty sure we did Hades before, but he likes Hades, and I don't mind whichever god. My favorite god, however, is Poseidon. Or Hermes. Is Hermes here? Yeah, he is. Let's do Ares. Maybe? Huh. Wait, is Nike here? Is Nike a Greek god? I forget. Or no, isn't Nike a soldier? Alright, I think I'll proceed with food giver. Yeah. Seems most fitting since it's like dinner time. Come, you who holds the land of Fragan Elysius, Queen Deo, giver of gifts, bringer of seasons, yourself and your daughter, beautiful Persephone, in return for song, kindly grant us heart-pleasing livelihood. Asterion lays a finger over the wine bottle's opening, and lets out only a trickle of wine, first to pass by the ashes around the flame, and only later to battle against its might. We shall remember you, tonight and always. In our hearth you shall find wine, and if your mercy would grant us excellence in all things, we shall tell tales and sing songs of your feats. The velvet surround you dissipates, allowing sound to break through once more. What a fine ceremony. I couldn't make out anything you said, but I'm glad I got to witness such an ancient form of worship. You are too kind, Robert. It is not every day I get an audience for one of my simplest duties. If you enjoy my culture so much, you are welcome to ask all your questions. Beware with what you say. I may just take that offer, and we'll be here all night. The night goes on. You and Asterion and the guests, for these few hours, you live without regret. Whatever memory you might muster of Jean and his delivery fades, but his does not. When you and the Minotaur leave to return to your quarters, he follows. Hey, you two. Don't you just go yet. This was a terrific night we had, lads, but make no mistake, I came here for work. This is the reason why I came all the way here. First class delivery. Jean hands you an envelope. Its surface is so finely preserved, corners so sharp and uncreased, that you would not be surprised if it only had left its sender's desk. Do you know who sent it? Can't say I do. Can't say I do, lad. Someone might have mentioned the client's name, but I can't recall. It came from headquarters just like this, and with a set of instructions on how to get here. Which weren't of much help, I can tell you that. It was from headquarters just like this, and was set with instructions on how to get here. Which weren't much of help, I can tell you that. I was, however, told that if you have any response to the message, I should take it back to headquarters and get it shipped. Asterion affords your privacy by turning around while you dig your finger into the crisp paper. The letter itself, an A4 white sheet, has not been graced with such divine perfection. It is folded 3 times but unevenly, with its corners rumpled. You unfold it. It takes you a few seconds to recognize the symbols on the paper as they swim around and stitch themselves together with aid from the hotel's translation. You stare at it, waiting for its contents to reveal themselves, but the letters melt away and become unconnected scribbles. You force your gaze further, and by your command the letter's contents coalesce back into their original shape. What lies revealed to you is an incomprehensible mess of childlike scribbles, flowing first from cursive like characters of snaking lines, and then into something more like the ridges of mountains on the horizon. For a moment, you consider the possibility that this may be a map, but were that the case, the land it depicts is one and the same, with the sea around it, like a ruptured cell spilling its contents. When that fails, you fear your mental health. Could you be having a stroke, rendering you incapable of reading and piecing things together? But the gods are not so terrible. Your brain is fine, and the truth of the matter is that this letter, for the most part, contains only incomprehensible scribbles. Take note, however, for at the very bottom of this wasteful exercise, there are 2 lines which your mind in the hotel can interpret. I'm sorry for not being good enough. P. Asterion gives you a sideways glance. You turn to him. There's not much to this. It's only gibberish. The hotel's translation can't make any sense of it. Whoever wrote this wasn't all there in the head when he... The gods are terrible indeed. Forgotten evils worm their way in once more. Lucian, is everything alright? This is a letter from, well, it's a bit upsetting. I think it's from the man who gave me the hotel's deed. Oh, Clement? You notice a slightest slump in his shoulders, then a snort as goosebumps climb up to the Minotaur's spine. His fur, short as may be, stands on end as he scratches the back of his head. He's still around then? His fingers dig in, like a hand digging away at dry soil. His scratching is louder than either your breathing or the distant sounds of ruckus from the lounge. What does he say? A bunch of scribbles. The hotel can't make sense of it. He was going senile when I met him, and I assume he wasn't fully conscious when he wrote this either. There's just one thing I can read from here, but it may be upsetting. Are you sure you want to hear it? For a moment, as brief as it takes for one's mind to realize the wrongness of what it sees, Asterian's eyes turn dark and bullish. It is comfortable to forget that Asterian's bovine nature runs deeper than his skin alone. His head has slowly dropped over these past few moments. His neck, however, remains stiff and tight. His face of that of a bull. This is a face of a bull about to charge. Featureless, lacking, cornered, blank. He does not answer your question, and although part of you may believe he indeed does not wish to hear it, for whatever reason, you say it, word by word. I'm sorry for not being good enough. It's signed with P. Clement. Clement. Oh, that's right. I recall now. That's the name headquarters mentioned. A Clement. A Frenchman, correct? Oh, sorry. It seemed I'm interrupting something. I will take my leave now. Have a good night, you two. With him gone, you take a step towards Asterion. Your hand almost rises to touch his arm, but the Minotaur's scorching gaze indicates the contact may not be welcome. You stand there, closer but distant, suspended in time it takes for a man's mind to chew through a bone. He is alive? So it would seem, although his mind might not be there anymore. Rended himself. Old age may separate the soul from body long before death. Existing halfway is wretched. Zeus takes half the goodness out of man when the Minotaur allows. The Minotaur swallows, then breathes in, hitches through his teeth. Then breaths? There is just a flicker in his eyes to signal a plea for help. You cover the last stretch and hug him. You gather the man, you gather the bull. You gather the friend onto himself as you unfold him to try and mend the broken pieces. The pressure from within threatens to boil over. You squeeze harder. And the more you do, the less claw-like his hands become. Half the goodness. With your face buried in his chest, you cannot see, but the hallway echoes the snaps of his tail and ears, followed then by the beat of his hooves as he shifts left and right. He does not hug you back. His heavy head leans hard onto your own, onto your shoulder. His hooves don't stop shuffling, even while his arms remain still. His head is monstrously heavy, or he is so bearing down onto you. He curls around you in between snorts and grunts. You hold harder, lest the pressure inside him boil alive, and you turn to your friend. And in turn, your friend trembles. It feels as though every cord of muscle in him could not be drawn tighter. He seems to fight against struggling away. Settle down. Stop awful. But this was treating slave. May carry and oh Zeus, why did he? That life was too easy. Remembering the smell clap. You burden, say it was fine. If you went away, you could break your Say it is fine. Breathe. Breathe, you dumb bull. Breathe. God, Zeus, Hestia. There are no sobs or hiccups. If one were to wish a heroic moment here, pain seldom makes a noble, beautiful mater or martyr. No, this grief makes monsters out of men. And if one is to find beauty here, it is because of the man, not for his suffering. Hands squeezed into claws, back hunched over you, as he hugged tighter and tighter, jaw tensed. Clement, what goes through his mind to send a letter now of all times? Shouldn't one such as he have the shame and grace to die far away? The Minotaur's hands, only half gnarled shut, press against your sides and stiff and confused jerks. He's not coming back. I won't allow it. Asterion snorts, then brings a hoof crashing down on the tiled floor. You look up and find his eyes, inches from yours, dry as a desert. This is not sadness. Let's go home. He complies. By hand you guide him. Evening, you gather back all that daunting day has torn asunder. Late as it may be, you do not commit Asterion to go to his room. This is not the state of someone who should handle themselves alone. Instead, you sit on the couch, and with that concentrated movements, he sets himself down. He lies on his side. He does not look, but his head is a few mere inches from your lap. It is an awkward position, but he does not move or adjust himself. Every minute or so, he strains to glance up at you. His gaze is less guarded and direct now. It is empty, however. Bereft. However bereft. You look down at your lap as that same emotion rears its head in you. Time passes and nothing else comes until you speak. Talk to me, Asterion, please. His eyes turn away from you. Moo. If it's okay, would you look at me? He grumbles, tail thrashing behind him, and then snorts. Asterion keeps staring at some point far away for half a minute before giving you a look, albeit wandering his eyes. He grumbles, tail thrashing behind him, then snorts. Asterion keeps staring at some point far away for half a minute before giving you a look, albeit wandering, his eyes dart to anywhere but your own. You're safe, that I can promise you. I won't hurt you or send you out, and I won't let anyone who might threaten you. No harm will come to you, and together we will pull through whatever comes to pass. I won't let anything bad happen. The hotel and all its guests are safe. We're partners, and we can overcome anything if we both set our minds to it. But I need something from you to accomplish our mission. I need us to talk about our emotions. If you'd rather not do it now, I understand, but I think it might do you good. What do you say? He turns away from you again, finally adjusts himself. Is still for long enough that you almost take that as his answer. At last, however, his horn scratches the sofa as he nods. Good. Before we start, would it be okay if I come closer? You could lay your head on my lap. He grunts and curls up tighter, then goes still once more. His eyes are dulled, movements uncoordinated. It is without turning towards you that he pushes himself further, hands flat against the couch, as if his fingers are numb. His head is heavy, but a brief adjustment fits you and him together, like a pair of seashells stacked. He is frozen at first, Every movement of his fingers and lungful of air comes in bursts and twitches. But memories of childhood, common across thousands of years, spring forth. You lay a hand on his head and tidy his fur. Short as may be, it can still rebel, but 2 or 3 caresses are enough to straighten up the back of his neck, and then you explore between his horns. The fur here is longer, a tad closer to human hair, better to sink your fingers into. Do all children enjoy this? A parent, a sibling, or a friend upon whose lap they can find comfort? And do all who benefit from it grow to share it with others? Running a hand over a friend's head, what a dear old gesture. One may be forgiven for doing it without asking permission, as long as he keeps himself quiet. Being very silent now, let the man's breathing settle, until it's less than a struggle and more like its usual rhythm. If another sound comes, a sniffle or a snort, do not inquire. Know your place. He'll take all the time he needs. Meanwhile, you can ponder some great questions yourself, such as whether or not all humans could, perhaps should, share a sense of borderless fraternity. Or perhaps you should ponder your own emotions, the multitude of affections a man may feel for another. While these thoughts dance, Asterion reacquaints himself with sound, flicking his ears in unison, swishes his tail, readjusts his head and legs into a more comfortable position. In response, you hum. First, the Sekios epitaph he taught you, then all the songs you remember from his concert. And when those are over, you go on with the nameless melody you once heard from a piano, or perhaps an acoustic guitar. Songs fill the void until Asterion is ready to take on the task. I apologize if I forget what you said tonight, Sir Lucian. Sometimes I can barely hear anyone. What do you mean? Between my ears, sometimes it is all rain and wind, roaring thunder that never strikes. Sometimes I can't hear anything at all. I apologize that you had to deal with that, like some unmanly, unruly calf. I apologize if I'm lacking sense. I tire of myself in these states. By the 12, I have had long enough to learn not to be bowled over by living. Yet, living can be too loud for me. Perhaps I apologize. There's no reason to. You did nothing wrong. And even if you did, you would have my forgiveness whether or not you asked for it. Are you feeling better now? A little. You scratch the top of his head. He does not shy away. Still, I apologize. I shouldn't have let my anger take root. If I was in your position, I might have gone berserk. No idea on how I'd have acted. In that regard, you did well. But be honest, is your anger justified? Is your anger unjustified? Clement did horrible things to you. You have every right to be angry, Asterion. No, I have no right to it, Lucian. Try as you might tell me otherwise, I know my place. What Clement did was only a return to form. The prisoner should not feel anger at the jailer for doing his duty. But if not for you, then what about the guests he kicked out? Can't you be angry on their behalf? Asterion does not answer. He chews on his own tongue and looks away, but glimpses of emotion and thought flash behind his eyes. You let him be there, and when he leans his weight on your hand, you renew your scratching. Gather the bull, gather the man, gather the friend onto himself. You lean back on the couch, close your eyes for a minute. Just a few minutes. Then, if he's feeling well, and being left alone doesn't give the impression of being abandoned, and if he doesn't want to stay here in the living room, if he's not too drowsy, if, beyond a shadow of a doubt, he will be fine. He's asleep. Familiarity vanquishes shame. Asterion wakes before you, head still resting upon your lap, just as dawn breaks and slips through the window. Wordless, he accepts that the charade is gone. There is no need for self-flagellate over this kindness. In fact, it would be ungrateful, indecent perhaps, to make a scene out of it. No, this mercy he must enjoy. He stays in place, still and silent, so as to not wake you, and closes his eyes once more. Nary does the memory of the previous night cross his mind. Later in the morning, while Asterion feeds the hearth's flames, you take over manning the reception. This allows you to meet Jean as he checks out. Lucian, you and Asterion are fine hosts indeed. In all my years as a courier, seldom have I seen such hospitality. Most people would just have me do my job and be off, but not you. You took me and all these people in, and you treat us like family. I understand how true your words were, that this place is for the lost, to give them a home. You're doing an amazing service here. Thank you. You're too kind. I'll make sure to tell Asterion you had a good time. He'll be just as glad as I am. You should, yeah. But I must also apologize for my actions. I don't know what was in the package, but judging from your faces last night, it seems to be an upsetting matter. I regret bringing sorrow to your home. Don't worry. It is a complicated matter, but you shouldn't feel any responsibility for it. Even so, it is unfortunate and unkind of me to repay your hospitality in this matter. I cannot allow things to end like this. I have a proposal for you. I couldn't help noticing that you seem understaffed. As you may guess, I travel a lot, and I come across all sorts of wanderers. If you want, I could keep an eye out for possible employees. I can spread the good news about this place. That would be very kind of you. We really could use some extra hands. Majestic, is there anything pressing that you can use some help with? If you give me a rough idea of what you need, it'll be easier to find someone who can get the job done. You think back to Jean's question, what are some positions need to cover? The lounge has been a lot more hectic lately. With all the new guests coming in, Coda is getting help from the kobolds, but he's still having a hard time handling both the kitchen and counter duties. Not to mention, you're getting a little sick of ramen and miso soup every other day. You could use a cook. Taking in everyone in need without discrimination could also be potentially dangerous. As Robert demonstrated, just about anyone can enter the hotel with next to no opposition, and this may be proved to be an issue if the next guest isn't not as affable as he is. Not to mention, employees sent to explore the labyrinth would feel a lot safer with someone reliable among them. I mean, you could use a watchdog, one that can keep people safe, both in the hotel and exploring the valley. Better yet, if he's good company. Another issue with the growing number of employees is the need to handle everyone's salaries. So far, you've been paying your employees in precious gems generated by the labyrinth, but you could be endangering them by making them carry such valuable items when they leave the hotel. A financer could take care of this matter, as well as handling the flow of currency in and out of the hotel, and securing materials which it can generate. We could use a cook, but I guess Coda does have help already. And we could have someone help with the labyrinth and I guess what's it called? Oh, I forgot. I just read it. Holy crap. Bodyguard duties or whatever. I'm sorry, my leg is hurting. I I could use a financer. I mean, that would be nice. But as I just saw, I'm pretty sure the boar, the dog, that is a dog, yeah. The boar, the dog, and the elephant probably will be the next employees. And I'm pretty sure we'll probably get all of them eventually. Possibly. I don't know the order, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna pick whichever one's first right now. This is a financer. This is the wolf, the bodyguard or whatever. I hope he's not like some talking dog, or I hope he is a talking dog. Who knows? But like, it would be weird if like, does he mean like good company as like as a pet? That's what I'm hoping it's not like. Because if he's a mythical, then like, or fantastical, it would be weird to have like big dog as a pet. As he said, he wants good company. Yeah, good company. I could care less about food right now. But I guess Coda would probably get along with him. These look like... yeah. So it's between this bodyguard and financing. And as this dog doesn't need money, I bet he does or doesn't. Actually, how would a human disguise go about with this thing? Okay, I don't know. But would a dog need money? Probably just a place to stay, right? So I'm going with finance, as probably it should. Because I don't want to pay them gems in the future. I know I said otherwise yesterday, but money is becoming an issue. There are materials we can't generate that we need to purchase, and paying our employees without an actual currency is complicated. If you could get someone who's good with money, I'd really appreciate it. I'll keep my eyes peeled. Seeing as a place like this could prosper would warm my heart. But before I go, there are two final things. First, would you be so kind to give me your phone number so we can keep in touch? Of course. Just hand me your phone and I'll type it in. Jean offers you a scratched, dust-covered phone. From the early 10s. It's already displaying its new contact screen. You input your number, but when it comes time to put in your name, you can't help but crackle as a devious idea rises from the depths of your chaos. You could perhaps, who knows, maybe put in a silly name. And we'll pick something else. Jean puts away his phone without acknowledging her grand ruse. Now, I still have another subject I wanted to bring up with you. I regret my comments implying you and Asterion were an item. That was uncalled for and out of place. Oh, that? No harm done, Jean. Thank you. It's good to know I didn't leave any sore feelings behind. That said, there is one comment of mine I cannot regret, in which in fact I will stress regardless of how unwelcome it may be. That said, there is one comment of mine I cannot regret, and which in fact I will stress regardless of how unwelcome it may be. I'm sorry to make assumptions, but if the two of you were to ever develop feelings for each other, you should not be deterred by the fact he's as well a Minotaur. Really, I mentioned it last night, I think. I had a son who was born special. As a father, I feared for him. I loved my boy, and he was the joy of my life. But could others see this beauty and kindness as I did? Would he ever find love? I'm not really sure what to think of what you said, but I can appreciate the sentiment. I don't think his looks should be an issue either. And yeah, he and I are friends, but there's a lot more to the story. For starters, we're also business partners. In the instance that Asterion and I did, let's say, have affections for each other, that would be unprofessional. Besides, I don't know a thing about his sexuality. and it's really not any of my business. To top it off, I'm not sure he'd be interested in a relationship with anyone, period. I see, I see. If neither of you has any interest, then that's it. End of story. But about you being coworkers, didn't you say last night the two of you own the hotel? Are you familiar with couples who keep businesses together? If memory serves, the Americans call them mom and pop stores. In this case, it'd be a pop and pop, yeah? That's the same thing. You really are quite persistent, aren't you? More than you can ever imagine. Well, I do appreciate the sentiment, Gene. I can see that you care. But in the end, it all goes back to what Asterion and I want. And honestly, I have a hard time believing. But in the end, it all goes down to what Asterion and I want. And honestly, I have a hard time imagining he'd be interested in romance. Would you be enough? Would you be, though? Me, with Asterion in particular? Of course. Okay. Now we're getting a little invasive. Please, entertain this one last question. Let me rephrase it. For the sake of argument, let's assume that all the stars align, that Asterion both leans that way. And harbors certain intentions towards you. Would you, shall we say, reciprocate? Look, Sheen, if you want to know if I could be in a relationship with him, the answer is yes. I'd probably go for it. I do feel a great deal of affection for him, and maybe if a bunch of things just sort of fell into place, that could one day become something more. But that's not the point. Because he's my friend first and foremost. I understand romance isn't what he needs right now, and I'm uncomfortable being probed about the idea of pushing myself onto him. Things are fine the way they are. That's my final word on the matter. I see, I see. That is a very thoughtful answer indeed. I'm sorry to have behaved so importunately, Lucian. I know it's rude, however. For what it's worth, you made this father quite glad. I keep thinking back to my son. Were he still alive, I'd be happy if you were his friend. The world needs more people like you. But enough dawdling. Time to go, my friend. Have a nice week. After seeing Jean off, he heads to the office and plan the activities for the day. Huh. You can now talk to Robert and select any daily agenda. Okay, I think that's where we'll leave off. Okay, hi everyone. I'm back again. At least I'd be back. How's everyone doing after the video? Should have been nice. It took a bit longer than I thought. I'm sorry about that. And you probably don't want to hear me talking for too long, so yeah. Within this video, what happened so far, if I can recall myself actually, I recorded like yesterday. Sorry. I've been tired lately as because of volleyball, and that coach does not like me. Or no, he does like me. It's just it's a lot harder, demanding, and I didn't think having nothing would be like this. But because it's not like actual D1 or D2, it's just we play all here in America. But video. So far in this video today, we saw Jean Mary. Also, am I saying Jean Mary wrong? Or is it like Jean Mary? You tell me in the comments. But I have noticed some people have been watching the videos over and over. It makes me very happy that you guys like the videos. I mean, I didn't think it would be this far within like 4 months, 5 months maybe. I don't know. So like, if that's why my schedule is a little bit like out of whack right now. I didn't think I'd be. I thought I'd only have like 1 or 2 maybe, and I didn't think I'd have any subscribers. That's why. But I guess for your guys' sake, I'm gonna start going on a schedule because school does start tomorrow again. So semester starts again. So yeah, it'll be easier to like get videos out since I have school. and not gonna be bed riding all day. And I'm not sleeping on the fact of the video again. But okay. So let me see. Movies. Let me turn this down just a bit. That might have been a bit loud for you guys. Okay. So within this video, we found one new guest who is a demon. Oh yeah, okay. Before that happened, we went to the hinterlands. And we will see those guys later again in the next video at the beginning again. Or no, we will not actually. We will be doing Coda a bit. We will see Coda in the next video, as well as what else? We'll be seeing Coda. And then I guess okay. A new character is gonna show up. As I might have already little hint, one of the 3 characters we chose, he's gonna be an elephant. He's a lot more serious than I thought. I should have chose the dog. I like dogs. Okay, sorry with the okays. But with everything that's happening so far, I'm surprised this game isn't like, or story, I should say. I'm enjoying it to a bit. Like, I didn't think that we'd be like actually managing a hotel. I thought it'd be like more like we're part of the hotel staff, but I guess this outro is a lot more of just me talking to you guys. Sorry about that. But let me get to the point though. This video, we've seen a little bit of the hinterlands. What may come, such as looking for dead remains, and yeah, dead remains. We're looking for dead remains. We're gonna help them get over here, and we saw his aunt Nini. I'm sorry, it might be Nini or Nini. I don't know, but we also, I guess, can you also tell me in the comments if choosing any specific god for any reason changes anything? Because I'm not too sure about that. I chose Hestia because of an anime called Flip. I forgot its name. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? Alright, so in this video, we get a demon, and we get a letter from P. I thought the P guy was gonna be the actual peacock, but it wasn't. It might be just Clement, because even the what's his name, Jean Mary confirms that like it was some guy named Clement or whatever. Or does he confirm? I don't know. I still think it's P, the peacock. And it was not meant for us. That letter was meant for his grandson who was coming to the hotel or whatever. Or his family, since he wasted his life looking for the hotel. I wish he was able to go to the hotel and so P could live a nice life, but it's whatever. I did not think that P was 30 though. Okay. And through that, I think that wraps up the video with us getting us requesting a new staff member. And I think that's about it. So yeah, tell me what was your favorite part in the video, or comment on my stuttering that I have every damn video. I love you all. So, just like the Truman Show, if you ever see me again, good morning, good afternoon, good night. See you later. Bye.